Hey, Tim, I did manage to get back from Port Douglas, sadly.
Yes, I know. And what was that? You were saying, oh, they won't let me out of Queensland, which was a really flawed argument. If you had checked it, they won't let you into Queensland. They're happy for you to leave. So when you said, I'm going to be stuck here for another week, that really didn't cut it for me. Not when you were sending photographs of floating around in the pool. Thanks for that.
What can I tell you? It was fabulous. Anyway, I'm back. I'm back in the cold.
Yeah.
And we've had a busy week already. We caught up with both the Minister and Fair Trading. So there's lots of stuff to update everybody on in that regard. In relation to extending the moratorium on the implementation of the regulation, or not the implementation, on the fining people for not implementing regulations.
That's right. Yeah. So we put forward the argument, and I think it makes sense. But then I think all of my positions make sense, I suppose. But with our suggestion, as you might recall, Leanne, they decided they'd have an education 6 months for everybody to absorb all of the changes, which I think was appropriate. But unfortunately, a little creature called COVID came along, and we've been dedicating a lot of our energies in that direction and not taking advantage of this 6 months. So I think extending it for another 6 months, but the point that you and I both made to the Minister was that we're not saying, hey, here's a licence not to do it. But I think what we're saying is that we could use some time to implement some fairly major changes to our business and be able to absorb all of that. I wouldn't like the job of going along to a property manager right now and saying, hey, I've just found some more stuff you can do. I think it's appropriate that they understand that.
Yeah, and I think there's a reasonable chance that we will get a positive outcome, but we will keep everybody informed. Now, we've been getting a lot of messages from our members saying that they're struggling to get their Class 1 licence when they're not already the licensee in charge. And we did hear that it's taking sort of 60 days for that to happen from Fair Trading side, but our members are telling us it's a bit longer than that, right?
Yeah, I think I was interested when they said that it's taking 60 days. I think they said that their turnaround time is usually 30 days in a normal world, and I'm struggling to understand why it would take 30 days to do that. But anyway, but then they've said no, it's blown out to 60. But I think it's more blown out to 90 from the feedback I'm getting. So so anyway, we've raised that with the Minister as well and Fair Trading and to assist with all of that, because unfortunately I think their communication out there letting people know that it's allegedly 60 days has been poor. So we offered to be a channel to market so that we could tell people what is going on, because and as we said to them, if you tell people there are delays, then they're not going to panic and ring you. And they're not going to ring you every 5 minutes to see where it's up to. So that'll enable you to focus on things. But anyway, we'll see if they take us up on our offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're telling everybody now there are delays, but I think they've worked that out for themselves. Now, there's also an issue, people that have already paid for their Class 2 licence, then having to pay again for their Class 1 licence. So,
yeah. And once again, we made a representation on behalf of those people. People, not surprisingly, when their Class 2 turned up, they said, right, we'll have to be licensed, and they're right. So they paid that whilst waiting for their Class 1 to be processed.
Yeah.
And then when that turned up, they said, no, you've got to pay for that as a fresh start, which is clearly wrong. And so we've made that representation as well. And I'm hopeful that some humanity and will crawl into that decision.
Yes, I'm sure. Now, we had our Women on Boards breakfast this morning. Unfortunately, we had to do it on Zoom. But just a reminder for everybody that we have got 5 board positions up for re-election. And some of the board members cannot stand again. So there will definitely be a few new faces. So we are looking forward to getting nominations from anybody who's interested in adding value to the industry. So 5 positions available. Reach out if you are interested.
Yes, yes, and it's been great from where I sit. I have to say, Leanne, over the last 10 years to watch the competition for position on our board grow quite strongly, and getting to the stage with our ballot papers that the ballot papers are having to get bigger, which is great that people are competing for those positions. So
absolutely,
I think that's great.
And also a reminder, we've got our AGM happening in November. If you haven't already registered and you'd like to, please do so. We need a certain number to get a quorum, and it's going to be on Zoom this year. So
yeah, that's right.
Won't be as much of an inconvenience for people. What else? You are working on the supervision guidelines, as everyone knows. Tell me, I'm excited to hear that we're going to deliver that electronically. And that means that we will be able to keep that information up to date whenever there's a change, right?
That's right. So that's been the decision we've taken because the legislative environment and the regulatory environment, for that matter, changes so frequently. Rather than people having to grab hold of the paper stuff and throw it out and print out another one. We decided that what we would do is have it electronically. Now, the other advantage in all of that is that whilst the document we've now produced and it is available for people to purchase now, we have a document which we're asking people to complete, which will gather some of the information that we need to prepare the particular manual for them. But there'll be more information on that coming out. But what we're going to be doing with this particular document, having it in a online environment, is that we will constantly be updating it. So even if there's no regulatory changes, we're going to take the opportunity to build in best practice, if you will, into the document. And also, some of the areas are not required by the supervision guidelines. So the supervision guidelines are very heavy in the sales area, in the residential sales area, but it's very light in the property management area. But I think there's advantages in us going in there and bringing some best practice process in there as well. I know, by way of some example, when we had all of those documents that we put together for the COVID environment, people said, great, this is a standard letter we can send out to a tenant who wants some reduction in their rent. And they said, here is a document you can complete and bring it back. And we had an enormous amount of positive feedback coming back from members doing that. So I think this time around, we will try and expand that thinking. And just finally...
that won't all be done all at once, though. This is a document that will be built over time.
Yeah. And we will continue just to maintain it and build it out. Day by day, it'll get better and better. But finally, in that space, in relation to this, we're also in discussions with some of the online providers. So what will happen with these providers, that they will be able to pick up our document and build it into their workflow processes.
Oh, okay, great.
So that's yet to come to fruition, but it certainly will. And these people then, once you use their system with our manual that's built in there, and you follow the system through, you'll have your compliance taken care of. So there's quite a lot of benefits in that, obviously, as well.
And so there'll be an email out to members in coming days. So people can look out for that, for the supervision guidelines. Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Now, there's been some changes to the home builder scheme.
Yeah, that one I'm not as across as much, but I did notice that you were an authority on that. Was it early this week?
Was it?
You were answering questions from good friends of ours up in Newcastle, I think.
Yeah, okay. Oh, actually, I know what it is. That's actually ready to be, you can actually apply for it now. So we have been waiting for those applications to become available. So that's what that's all about. So we can put a link to that in the EDM that's going out tonight. That was the Royal Week. Did you like that? We.
Yeah, I did. We.
The wonderful marketing team behind Tim and I do all that.
Those great people that behind all of this today, making it happen.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there's some border issues that we also raised with the Minister and Fair Trading. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh, how much time have you got? Gee.
No, we've got 30 seconds, go.
I don't even know where to begin. Putting aside the economic implications of trying to get across. I've been speaking to a good friend of mine down in Albury today,
Yeah.
and some of the issues they're talking about. I mean, even with the coffee shops and the other retailers that where they've done deals with them, they said yes, you're going to be on 50% rent or whatever it is. They're now coming back going, you know what? Another 50% of my market lives over the other side of the border, and they can't do it. So we've got people trying to move into houses. We've got agents trying to sell properties on the other side of the border. We're doing inspections, and part of the problem they're having is just trying to get the piece of paper that they need to hold up at the border when they go through to say I'm allowed to do this. So it's complicated. It's complicated, and they brought the thing in very quickly. And again, I'm not throwing stones at them. I understand what they're trying to do, but the reality of it is that we're just trying to work through it all. It all sounded good when we said, well, you're only allowed to live on that side of the border if that's your home. And what we've got is people who plan to have it as their home, but hadn't moved in at the time when the gate got closed. So there's those problems as well. So difficult.
And that is exactly why we have got our webinar at 10:30 on Friday with Beyond Blue, because we know that the stories are horrific out there. So that is tune in for that at 10:30. And have I missed anything on your list?
Let me check. No, today, all that swimming must have done you the world of good. All today. No, I think you've covered it all. I really do.
Beautiful.
All right.
All right. Well, I will see you on Friday.
Okay. Talk to you then. Thanks.
Later. Bye.
Bye.